So this is a somewhat random presentation that I'm doing without any preparation. I'm doing it off the cuff, and I'm doing it because I just want to do it, and I'm interested in doing it. I've had a serious injury, so I'm in a recovery situation at the moment, and so I'm finding ways to keep myself entertained and to contribute to society again. Because so much effort has been expended keeping me alive, basically, keeping me fed and housed, and so much money, time, and effort has been spent by so many people over a period of time which I think is more than a year. So I'm extremely grateful to these people. So now I'm at a stage in recovery where some things are beginning to work. There's some things that are very difficult there. So on my memory, for example, is basically gone. So I'm not sure how this will go and if I can do anything particularly useful. But I've been wondering a few things, and one of the things I've been wondering about is part of the big stuff. Some of the very big questions we have. One of the very biggest that I'd imagine. And I was wondering where the universe came from. Now, that's quite a strange question and rather difficult to even attempt to understand such a thing. But it's very irritating to me that there's obviously and literally no way of knowing some of these things. So, where the Earth came from, where the galaxy came from, and the Sun, where the solar system came from, where the galaxy came from, it's just all amazing and impossible to know. Um, it's kind of unreasonable to think that mass would just appear. And even more subtle things like gravity itself as a force. Where did gravity come from? Where did atoms come from? Where did light come from? And then, the, these elements got together and started to form planets and suns and stars and whatever. But again, it just feels unreasonable to me. I can't see how matter could exist. And we haven't even got onto such things as where life came from. That's another discussion altogether. But the basic elements, and gravity itself, and light and heat, where did these atoms and objects come from? It simply doesn't make sense that these things could just appear. Now, obviously, this is why the idea of God is there, but I'm not religious myself, but I have to give credit to the people that imagined and made up the theory of God, because to be honest, it makes more sense than the universe just appearing by itself. It's such a strange situation to be existing and not have any idea how that could be possible. And the beginning of life doesn't make sense either, because one thing has to lead to another. And humanity, for example, starts, well, a human being that starts from being a baby. And there's no baby, I'd imagine, that can take care of itself and raise itself. It's simply impossible. And there's nothing to give birth to the baby anyway. So, how did the baby get created? And then, how did the baby get fed and clothed and get safe from harm? And where did the things that could harm the baby come from as well? So, the beginning of things is just so mysterious and so frustrating that there can be no answers. So how can there be a situation where there's been something as fundamental as where we came from, how we were created, something as fundamental as that is simply inexplicable. So, yet we wander around normally and we don't really think very much about where we came from. We just get on with life. And this inexplicable reality is very frustrating to me. And I don't even know how to begin to make progress. And I watch video presentations and read articles by very brilliant people, very smart people, and they always seem to do the same thing. They seem to start from a basis that itself doesn't make sense to me. They'll say things like, gravity will bring these particles together to form planets. Well, where did gravity come from? Where did the particles come from? It's one thing to talk about processes that led to larger things, and the solar system was created by particles coming together and staying together and then heating up and blah blah blah. But these approaches don't answer the basic question: or where did light come from? Where did gravity come from? Where did all the stuff, all the matter in the universe come from? How could it be just created? It seems sensible to think that everything must come from somewhere else. They can't just appear by itself. But maybe it simply has to be accepted that material things can be just created from absolutely nothing. I don't think we have a choice really, but I do think that people don't wonder about this very much. We're so busy getting on with our lives that there's very little time or energy to devote to wondering such large questions. But it is absolutely crazy, and to some extent we just have to accept things as they are, because we don't really have a choice. But it would be so great to have an answer that made sense. And the smartest people on earth have not presented anything that approaches a proper solution. There's just assumptions and ideas which don't answer the fundamental question of where matter came from and how it could be organized like this. It's just a mystery.